Hello everyone. So the Datamine for the February Pokemon Masters is already out, and once again, is it any surprise that we're getting even more limited units? Uh, the Cyrus and Darkrai and Dawn and Cresselia are Pokefairs, and then we have the two seasonals for Palantines. So four limited units. At least there's no Master Fairs, right? How good are these units? Just looking at a glance, I think they are all good. We can really see the power creep in full force now, especially with two of the units actually being more of the zone users, right? So on the one hand, it really helps out the units that don't have terrain and weather. On the other hand, like, are we just gonna try pull on every unit? Obviously, we can't do that unless you whale. So I'm gonna go over these units and see like what I think of them. Uh, but overall, I think they're really good. We're gonna start with Darkrai. In terms of the stats, this is really good stats, right? Especially if you max it out, it's really high special attack, and the bulk is not even bad at all. So this is just your general tech stats. It seems like techs are just the best units in the game now, and Darkrai we kind of already know was going to be a tech just because of Dark Void, the signature move, and Dark Void at 80% accuracy now. No longer at the 50%. I think it's Legends RCS brought it back to 80. This is not really all that different from the 70 that we're getting from, was it the 75 that we're getting from the sleep powders and the hypnosis that are already in the game. But we already know like Darkrai obviously would have Dark Void. And then we have Dark Wish for the Dark Zone. That's also really good. I think in the long term, I think this Dark Wish is a future proof, right? Dark Void, there are budget sleepers out there, and there's already Serena. So there's really nothing new about Dark Void, but Dark Wish is powers up all the dark units, and we have quite a few very powerful dark units already. And Cyrus himself is actually like really high dark damage. And if you have Dark Pulse, this is not really a good 3-bar move because of the low base power, but as you'll see on the grid, the problem is like there's a lot of multipliers, so it's not really a problem here. And then you have the trainer move, which raises special attack by 2 and raises accuracy and critical rate by 1. So that's definitely like today's standards is almost maxing out or completely maxing out all your stats in one go. And this move does not even do it in 2 goes. So this is subpar trainer move. And then the sync, uh, yeah, it just Dark Zone, extra damage in Dark Zone, and then they are going all out with the sleep. So Sync Snooze puts everyone to sleep upon sync. So this is just like Jigglypuff's, except Jigglypuff needed the EX to actually put everyone to sleep, and Jigglypuff does no damage. So this is really good. And then we have the Bad Break, which lowers one of the following stats. All opposing sync pairs by 1 stat at random when the user's Pokemon uses better status move. This is also really interesting, although it's a random stats, right? Yeah, at random. So a bit of RNG there, and then of course a Sheer Nightmare, which is just additional damage to sleeping units. But it has to be dark and has to be special. So right now it's the Darkrai, I guess, because most of the dark unit. Oh, I guess Karen also. Okay, so that's a good multiplier, right? Additional damage, but how much we don't actually know because this is a new ability. So looking really good right now. The issue I see with this unit is what exactly are you trying to do with it? Because as far as sleepers go, we kind of already have experience with this with the Go Viral 9, Hypnosis, Serena, and Delphox. And that's pretty much like if you're planning to sleep, they just come in and they just click, the sleep move throughout the entire game. So I think it's a bit of a waste to have Cyrus do that. Also, this Dark Wish, which powers up the dark moves, but you had to waste a turn. And also the trainer move, you had to waste more turns with the trainer move, unless you bring a dedicated support, which I think Darkrai would need a dedicated support. in this case, because there's no way you're going to be able to juggle all of these things, and I think that's the problem with Darkrai here. Like, I think in the end, he will be best used as a dark type DPS, potentially in a dual DPS composition, and then with the Dark Wish supporting another dark type, that will be his main niche. I think the sleeping is actually kind of a drawback if you think about it, because most of his multipliers require your opponents to be sleeping. But he's not able to juggle Dark Void, Dark Wish, and attacking all at the same time. So if you end up just using him for Dark Wish and then just spamming Dark Pulse, he's not actually gonna do that much damage. Or unless, of course, what else you can do is you could have Darkrai as the DPS, and then have Serena and Delphox as the sleeper. I think that would work. But is that damage actually better than just bringing like a dual strike? It's questionable, right? It's questionable. Let's look at the grid. So his grid is really good. He has a lot of, he has a few sync nodes. This is a sync node, and I think another sync node here. Yeah, so this is the power plate. This is the reverse rising tide. This is very, very strong, right? Very, very strong. Uh, Sync nodes, and yeah, you want to sync with them because he puts everyone to sleep. Right, and the thing is, these nodes actually don't require targets to be asleep. So maybe you'd want them to just be, you know, like, who cares if the opponent is asleep or not? And then you just use him as a sync nuker. Uh, Otherwise, he doesn't have anything to fix his problems. Like, there's nothing to fix his critical rate. There's a pinpoint entry, but that doesn't bring Dark Void to 100% accurate anyway, because Dark Void is 80% accurate. So, and then of course you have the Dark Pulse. In terms of the builds, I've had this is the sync build. You want power play, perhaps bring someone to lower the stats, I would think. Although we don't have, do we have any dark types that lowers the stats? We have Masquerade, but Masquerade also wants to sync and does not deal good damage. So maybe not the best support for Cyrus here. But he'll do better damage in the Dark Zone. And then you have the Sync nodes, and you have Dark Wish, MP Refresh 2. We currently don't even have any kind of zones with an MP Refresh 3, so we'll just have to settle for this. And then the Sync nodes. Alternatively, this is the Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse gets a lot of multipliers. There's a multiplier here, there's a multiplier here. That's like, 100%. Then you have the critical strike too, and then you also have the Dark Pulse aggravation to flinch targets. So that's really good. Sadly, it's really stretched out, so you actually can't go for the move gauge refresh. It's probably not a huge deal in this case. Probably bring Serena to sleep the units, because you obviously you don't have any room to be spamming Dark Voids if you're planning to deal damage with Dark Pulse. So how good is this unit? I don't think this is the best unit of the batch, but it's definitely a top tier unit. And if you have a lot of Dark Strikers, or you like Dark types in general, this is a must-have. Otherwise, I don't think this is a must-have overall. Then we go on to Dawn and Cresselia. This is a unit I'm really conflicted about, because there's a lot of good things going on, but there's also just a lot of really bad things. We'll just look at the stats. The stat is good, but not amazing. Like, this kind of bulk, this is maxed out 20 out of 20. The bulk is good, but it's not on the same level as Signature Blue, even pre-Mega. So if we're going to go with that, then this is not amazing. But it is I guess this is good enough for tanking, because we have supports like, Lyra and Sabrina and Alakazam that are actually just these days just not good enough for tanking, because of the power creep, right? Confusion, Mumbar Spam, that's good. Moonlight, This is practically a potion, but it only works on your unit. It's also affected by weather. I don't think you'll be bringing a Cresselia with using it with sun anyway, but it's a nice bonus. And yeah, Moonlight. Unlike the potion, which is a trainer move, this can be interrupted if you're confused or anything, and it does use the move gauge, and it's only 2 uses anyway. So I'm really not a big fan of this move, looking at it from here. And of course, the most content, and we have Moonblast, and the most contentious of all is this Sweet Dreams. I'm guessing they want to base this off the Luna Dance because you take damage using this move. You increase all the ranks by 2, so that's good, but this drawback is really, really hefty, right? It's supposed to go with Creselia's passives, but really this is really painful if you're gonna use 2 uses. Like if it was 1 use and you just raised, maxed out your crit and then just raised 4 for the special defense and defense, that would be okay. You're just taking, but this is you're taking 60% damage just off that. And then you have the sync move, which I'm also not a big fan of. It heals. It's a non-damaging one. So this is like Eevee and Xerneas. It heals everyone but yourself, right? So healing yourself, you're still relying on Moonlight, which you'll see later. It's really bad. So yeah, you can heal up to 40%. You start off at 20%, and then so this is a unit that actually is worthwhile going to 5 out of 5 because you do have the extra bonuses going to 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5, and it removes all the status and then remove all the conditions. So that's good. If this healed Cresselia as well, this would be really good. But since it doesn't, and just not a fan. We're not a fan of this, you know, this is supposed to be a tank, but it just seems to be like it's trying really hard not to be able to tank. 4 to 5 3. This is good, but once again, this like it's not going to be able to offset the increase in this defense and special defense will not offset the fact that you are low health and you're about to die. And you have Team Brainstorm, which also requires low health. It gives the special move up, which is really good, right? That's one stack of that is 40%. So that is really good. And you can potentially get more. But it really relies on your opponent actually hitting you or using the minus 50% health. So maybe that's the way to do it. Use a minus 50% health in the Champion Stadium. And then you have the sync damage card. This is good, definitely. So you definitely want to sync. They really want you to give you the incentive to sync with it's a support. So you want the support EX, and you have all of these bonuses, and then you have this the damage guard. That's really good. On the grid, there is no MP refresh to Moonlight, and that pretty much seals the fate. There is a sync refill, so for the first time and it's only the first time, you sync with Cresselia, you get another one. So out of the entire battle, you have 3 uses of Moonlight. So that's, and there's no I guess there's no RNG involved, but it's only 3 uses. That's about it. And then you have moves that tank your health. So that pretty much just tanks 1 use of this. So you really just only have 2 use of it. You do have the sync regen, but that's not going to be enough, right? I mean, this thing over the course of 10 turns is going to give you 40%, but your opponent's constantly dealing damage to you. And also, Cresselia cannot heal her teammates. And then in terms of the grid, it's a good grid, but I think you can't grab everything just because of how locations of things are. I've only really had one, so this is what I would run her as. You have to have the sync refill, and I do think the master healer and the catalyzing recovery is a must in order to speed up the team. So that's definitely what you want. I think this is better than this one, the desperate freebie. just because I don't like the stuff that's activating on low health, like half health or below. So, and then you have, of course, have the sync region just to give you a bit more healing. But I think on a very difficult map, this kind of healing might not be enough. So, I think this is the weakest unit of the bunch. And it's easily fixable. Just get rid of this, get rid of this minus 30% and then try to fix these. Maybe do it like what New Year Sabrina has. Maybe have it so it's not 100% chance, but it's like 50% chance. But you don't have these low HP conditions for it. I think that would be better. Um, so right now, I still think it's a good unit because it does play well with how strikers and ticks we have right now are all really self-sufficient. So in a sense, giving them defensive buffs and giving the gauge support is actually more important than giving crit or giving, and she can give crit as well, than actually giving attack or special attack. And I think she does have one move which gives the. I think she does have. If I can just find it. She does have, yeah, all ramped, Sweet Dreams ramped up. So you can use her to support, to top off your special attackers. But I think the grid is pretty tight. You really want to grab these ones. So you really want to just grab these. So there's really no room to come here. Yeah, I'm really conflicted about this unit. Yeah, Cresselia is cool. Cresselia is really good in the mainline series as a tank, but here she doesn't hold up. She has one of the highest defensive index in the mainline, but here she doesn't hold up, especially with that tank. This taking damage, just yeah, uh, definitely the worst of the bunch, I think, at least in the gacha pile. Then we have the Bullwell. In terms of stats, once again, good stats, especially the defenses. The defenses are very nice, right? And you have the good attack, and once you mega, it's really high attack and really high defense. Like this is good enough for tanking in terms of defenses. So yeah, very good unit in terms of the stat line. And then you have Growl. This is okay. It just it's a one bar spam, and you have Steel Wish, of course. The more wish, more zones. This steel types are not in a good spot right now, so I think there's no perfect steel types out there. Um, so this really helps out the steel types. Although Mowile is really strong, right? Has the Iron Hit, 30% chance to flinch. Once again, it's kind of like Dark Pulse, low base power. So then we also have this, which gives the doesn't actually give. Yeah, this one doesn't really give any crit, but Mowile can max her crit throughout the game, uh, according to the passives and on the grid. And then you have Terrify 2 and Enfeeble 2. That's really good, right? That lowers the attack and defensive stats, and they go well with the fact that a Mowile is a physical attacker, and it goes well with the attack. The Terrify is actually really good because she gets a sync multiplier based off opponent's lowered attack. And then you have Team Sharp Injury. This is like a supportive move, so that's really good. So yeah, she comes in with +1 crit. And then in terms of the grid, I actually think it's just one grid, right? There's a lot of cool stuff like hit start and joints, but really I think there's only one, which is this sync grid. You grab all the sync nodes, and then you can still grab the iron hit aggravation. Like you have to grab this, and then you grab the two sync multipliers. You grab the pecking order, which is the attack lowering one, and then you grab the metallic surge, which is the steel zone one. So that's really good. Also, I didn't know about the sync. When you sync, you are able to have more of this, right? You have more Terrify, You have more well, I'm not sure about this one. If you get, I think you don't because it's not an entry again. But these ones, Terrify and Enfeeble will activate again. So you actually drop them to -4 on both, which really helps out your multiplier anyway. And I think this is the best setup for mobile. There is like, super duper effective and stuff, but I don't think you need to build this like this one grid kind of just deals with most issues, and you also get to pick up the Steel Wish NPR as well. I think this is the best unit of the bunch, just because these are like it's a very good utility. Like this will help you tank and helps with the damage. So you would want to use her with more physically orientated steel types, which most are, right? Most are Metagross, Solgaleo, and Zacian. They're all physically orientated. It's just Duraludon that is special, although Duraludon's probably the best steel unit prior to Morwell. So I think this is a must-have, especially considering that we don't have a lot of steel types that are like available, right? We do have now we have a Bisharp in the general pool, but otherwise we're just mostly just using, in terms of free-to-play options, just using Solgaleo most of the time. And Solgaleo definitely needs a boost, and this is a nice boost that'll be provided. And just more well, and Solgaleo has sharp entry as well, so you can kind of not run a crit support, and Solgaleo would still have +2 crit. So yeah, I'll be pulling on this unit. I think it's the best, and I don't have any Marnies, so I definitely want to pull on this. And yeah, Mobile is really cool as well. Now we go to B and Vanillix, which is another Ice type. And once again, the stats, not amazing defensive stats. Offensive stats, obviously, really bad. But this is a support unit, so it doesn't matter. We have the Astonish. Um, this is like a really good support move because it's 1 bar and it has a 30% chance to flinch. And later on, you see it's actually 60% chance to flinch. And then you have the Potion, which is also a really good ability. Icicle Sphere, just if you had more gauge to spare, but I think most of the time you will be using Astonish. And then you also have that's Sheer. This raises attack and special attack by 4. And you also give the physical move up. The problem is it's only one use. And yeah, so you only get this like one time. Yeah, not much else to say. Cold Front, it brings the hail when you come in, and then I think this is increases your defenses during hailstorm, and the snow shower just no snow damage. So this unit is not looking amazing so far. I think you do need the grid, and obviously you need the 3 out of 5 grid for this to work. Because I think there's really even no point going over the 2 out of 5s. 1 out of 5 almost always just has nothing, and then 2 out of 5 doesn't give you enough anyway. And Vermix, you need 3 out of 5 for the Hailbringer, because that's the whole point. You want to keep syncing with it. You want to keep bringing in the hail to support the hail team. Even though, like in terms of beneficiaries, I think the least amount of units really benefit from hail. Like most ice types don't really benefit that much because there is no inherent multiplier. But I think this becomes the best the best ice support. There is vigilance. There's like unbending, sure. There's just once again, I think it's just you're just gonna be running it with one type of grid, which is the one with the Astonish, and then the Hailbringer, and then as much potion NPRs as you can. I think there's no other grid to run. You need the Hailbringer. You really want, this free move with the aggravation, and then you also want to have as much healing as possible. These are only 40% heals, sadly, because you can't grab the Master Healer, and they cost so much energy as well. So, but I'm just glad that you can actually reach all these corners. That does mean there's really only one way to run. But yeah, I think this is the best Hail support. That's not a high bar, and you wouldn't want to use this unit outside of Hail. I mean, otherwise it's kind of just like the BP Morty, right, with the Astonish and the Potion. But yeah, I think this is good. Um, if you have the Christmas Leon, you definitely want this unit. And if you're a fan of ice types, I think you definitely want this unit just to um, just to help support it. It's definitely no Ingo, it's definitely no Signature Blue, but it's a very good unit. And a bit of a bonus, let's go to Palkia with the expanded Palkia grid. Obviously, when Giovanni came with the Mega Mewtwo, Palkia doesn't have. Well, Palkia does have the extra form, right? It does have the origin form now from Legends Arceus, but it's gonna take a while, if at all, to come here. And the new tiles are these two, and I think the catastrophe, the speed, and then the spatial and ramming speed. So those are the new tiles, and these are free as well. So always grab these, and first aid, which is pretty useless. You wouldn't want to use it. So it really helps the spatial rain build. I think even the sharp entry is more helpful towards spatial rain. So now you're pretty self-sufficient in terms of being able to get off the crit focus. And then you also have spatial rain ramming speed. You still do less damage than Hydro Pump just based off the BP, because now both of them have ramming speed. But the difference is Hydro Pump has more BP. But this is what I would run. It's good that this catastrophe is only 3. If you have a crit support, you can give up these to grab the catastrophe. But otherwise, if you just want to run uh, Cyrus on his own, this is how you would run. And this is good for, I think, just dragon stages, or if you don't want to deal with the fact that Hydro Pump doesn't have 100% accuracy. But most of the time, if you're dealing with off type, I still think it's better to run the Hydro Pump build, which if you plan to use it with the sharp entry to have a self-sufficient Cyrus, you'll have to give up the healthy healing. Because what I had before was without these, right? And just have the healthy healing to help out, because you tank whereas in New World Order you tank your health whenever you use it. Also, I just noticed this is 25 of remaining, whereas Cresselia's one is 30% of max HP. So you can actually kill yourself if you start off with the Champion Stadium terms at 50% and you just use it twice. So yeah, so this is what I had before, and now you can try to pick up more accuracy tiles, even though this doesn't bring Hydro Pump to 100%. But I think it's good. You don't have healthy healing, so probably need a potion user. But this way, Palkia is completely self-sufficient, and I think it's a nice boost, especially to the spatial rain. Almost no boost to right, just getting the 20 special attack and the 20 speed for the Hydro Pump build. But I think so I think it's good for Palkia, but still I think Mewtwo's probably got the bigger buff overall. Thanks for watching, everyone, and everyone have a nice day.